Welcome and thanks for joining. This is Morgan with Eagle Air, and we're going to check out the Piper Dakota, which is the best plane for a new private pilot in 2025. It offers the nearly perfect blend of performance and flight characteristics, mission capabilities, and overall ownership experience and costs that makes the Piper Dakota the ideal choice. So let's go for a flight. We'll take you aboard this Dakota, November 8470 hotel, and demonstrate that the Dakota is the best airplane in 2025 for a new low-time pilot or a pilot who's new to personal aircraft ownership. So come along. Clear prop. And welcome on board. We're here in November 8470 hotel. Just a great example of a Piper Dakota. And the Piper Dakota is the best airplane for a new or low-time pilot for personal ownership in 2025.
Crystal Tower information, Papa 1853 Zulu observation, wind 30011, visibility 10, sky condition clear, temperature 14, dew point -5. Altimeter 3014. Visual approach in use. Plane departing runway 32. Runway 6 right 24 left facade is open. Departing aircraft requesting track 50 Bravo Airspace entering forward ground control. Advise on initial contact. You have information Papa.
Good afternoon, Crystal Ground Dakota 8470 Hotel, Papa, Wiley North. Request taxi to the active VFR departure west.
8470 Hotel, Crystal Ground, runway 32, taxi via Charlie Delta, cross runway 24 right, 24 left at Delta.
32 on Charlie Delta, cross 24 right, 24 left on Delta 70 Hotel. So we'll talk about how easy it is to transition to the Dakota, especially given the additional performance it has over a typical pure trainer like a 172 or an Archer or a Warrior. You name it. This has that easy taxi that comes from your nose wheel being dead, just absolutely fixed to the rudder pedals. It gives you that complete and solid control. You also have the differential braking in addition to that. Crystal Tower, Dakota 8470 Hotel, hold short 32, ready to go.
Dakota 8470 Hotel, Crystal Tower, wind 27010, gust 17, on course to the left approved, runway 32, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff 32, left turn, 8470 Hotel. All right, got full mixture, full prop, fuel pumps on, trim set. I always use all the runway. You never know. More about stopping in time if you need it. Takeoffs are smooth and easy in this plane. You got lots of power. It's not the most powerful airplane, which is part of why it's easy to transition. But you feel it. It accelerates better than an Archer or a 172. And if we stop accelerating and pitch the nose up, looking for about 86 knots indicated. you'll see her climb out well above 1,000. I like to tip the nose down, let it accelerate to about 100. You're gonna leave full power in, but as you can probably tell from the view, it just makes things a lot easier looking out the front. And we'll begin our turn to the left. Great colors out there today, holy cow. Yeah, we're westbound now. So even at that 100 knot climb, we're still maintaining close to 1,000 feet per minute solo. If we were really loaded up, 4 adults, a few bags, we would lose a couple hundred feet per minute, but not much. It's not a cold day, especially by Minnesota standards, but it's also not a summer day outside. It's about 55 degrees down on the ground, and even down here at 2,500 feet, we're just under 50 degrees ambient temperature outside. And now we'll let it accelerate and cruise. 3,500's, you know, it's a usable cruise altitude for this plane. There's no reason not to. It will give you better true airspeed up higher. But as we approach an indicated airspeed of about 120, 125, we'll pull the power back some here. Okay, so we're looking for about 24 inches of manifold pressure and about 2,200 RPM on the propeller. And that's actually going to set you up at about a 65% cruise setting down low on a cool day like this. You could cruise it a little faster than that, even down low. Leave the prop up at 23. 23 squared is a good number, below 3,000. Maybe even below 4. Okay, so we've got the RNAV 36 loaded in now for
Mach 5 Crystal
Buffalo.
Tower, proceed on the runway 14, full length.
So we'll show how stable and easy to fly it is by flying kind of a practice approach here real quick. And then we'll take off back to Crystal. We'll just do a low approach over there, I think.
Buffalo Municipal Airport, automated weather observation 2003 Zulu. Wind 250 at 13 knots. Peak gusts 18 knots.
Alright, so we're going to have some crosswind, even a little bit of tailwind here. You can see we're getting bumped around, but it's still just a breeze to fly this thing. Like, even without all the modern fancy avionics, I could just get this thing set up where I'm tracking on that CDI straight into the initial approach fix. We'll fly the procedure turn inbound, and you'll see it's just a piece of cake. I did a lot of my instrument training in a Dakota, so I probably am biased towards it. But it wasn't my only option, right? I did it in a Dakota intentionally for all the reasons I've listed. It's stable, it has great performance, it climbs out really well. You get to where you're going sooner, so you can do more in one instrument training flight than you could do in something like a 172. Right now we're covering into the headwind 114 under the ground, but just
Traffic
think.
Terminal 390, uniform downwind for runway 31, Glencoe.
If this was a 172 and we're doing this same flight, we would be saying what? Oh, not even 100 over. Right? We'd be seeing 80 over the ground. But we'd be halfway to the initial approach fix that we're at to now. And just given the current market conditions in 2025 with light signals, you know, if you're thinking 172, you should reasonably already be budging well over $120,000. So to have a jack of all trades like this, and for the same rough price as a nicely equipped 172, that's why it can be the best in the modern marketplace. You're going to spend 50 to 75% more on a similar 182 as you are to a Dakota to do exactly the same thing, right? Everything you can say about a Dakota, you're going to gain a lot of money in your pocket to pay for gas and to pay for maintenance and to pay for insurance, right? The acquisition cost is by far not the only thing to consider. All right, now we'll just do our standard rate turn back in intercept. Piper made the Dakota to go head-to-head with the 182. And for purely cross-country, people hauler, easy to fly, it matches everything the 182 does. In fact, realistically, you could carry about another 150 pounds of stuff and fuel, right? Because that all counts towards your useful load. A typical 182 is going to be around 1,100 pounds, and a typical Dakota is going to be about 1,200 pounds of useful load. And so, again, to emphasize, when you're spending that much less, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 less, you know, that's money you're going to spend on actually flying, right? And there's our glide slope in now. And so we'll just intercept that glide slope, follow it in. The nice thing about the Dakota is that you just pull the power back as we intercept here. And we're going to start to slow down, right? Like, it's not an involved process. Passing 100, we'll get one notch of flaps in.
47, turning base 423.
Buffalo traffic, Dakota 8470 Hotel, 4 mile final 36. Practice RNAV approach, and then we're going to go miss to the east, Buffalo. We'll break it off at 1500. That's 500 to go. Just keeping those needles in. You'll notice once I found the power setting that works, I'm not touching it, you know? You just leave her as she is and fly the needles. Just small correction. 100 knots the whole way down. You know, in a 172, we'd probably be flying this at 80 knots. So it just goes to show you, you'll get more work done and real work if this is your airplane, right? There's 500, let's level. Just add in a little bit of power, don't want to accelerate. Keep the needle centered. At Buffalo traffic, 8470 Hotel is going missed, off to the east, Buffalo. Alright, there's positive rate, we'll get the flaps out. And just recover the same way we climbed down on takeoff. We'll get above traffic pattern altitude and a couple miles north and then break it off to the east. And we're gonna go direct to Crystal. Power back again. You know, you talk a lot about buying the airplane for your, some people say 85%, 90%, 95% mission. And so for a lot of people out there that want to own an airplane, being able to put 3 adults, lots of baggage, and go 3 hours is that 85% mission. It's really that ability to haul 3 or 4 adults for a relatively short flight that still saves you hours and hours and hours of drive. And the Dakota does that really well. Even if you are just 2 people, 85% of the time, right? You open up that 10% mission where it's going to be 4 adults. So then when you get back into this landing environment, especially on the less than perfect weather days like this, where you've got turbulence, you got crosswinds, having the airplane that handles like the trainer instead of like the sports car really gives you the confidence to go out and use the airplane. You're not going to pass on the flying trip because there's 15 knot crosswinds or 10 knots or whatever your line is. I can't tell you that. But having that familiar feeling airplane just gives you the courage that you need to go out there and fly it, right? We're getting bumped. We're getting pushed around by a 20 knot tailwind here as we turn base to final. But at the end of the day, it's just like what I did my primary training in. There's no vices in the handling. I just have extra performance that if I do need to go around, it's there. All right, props full forward, mixture full rich, fuel pump on, flaps full. We're a little fast, we're gonna start to slow down here. Looking for about 80. There's 80. We got 1 white light, daytime at Crystal. That's all right. Nighttime, I don't mess with it. Two white, 2 red. But that Pappy here is giving you a 4 1/4 degree glide slope. It's a lot steeper than 3D.
Good 2904 Romeo, change plan. If you could stay west of the field and enter a left downwind runway 32.
All right, we got the crosswind
west of the
correction
field
in
and
now.
enter left downwind runway 32.
And we're just aiming at the numbers. 75, 80 knots, so runway's made. We get to bleed off of speed.
This is Tower Archer 2228 Zulu over Oinop with Quebec inbound post stop.
All right, well, that was a bumpy but useful demonstration of everything the Dakota can do. What I can't demonstrate in a flight is how easy it is to own. But for just, you know, fractionally more annually than a 172, an Archer, a Warrior, you get so much more performance. With 1,200 pounds of useful load, that's similar or the same as what most 6-seaters offer you. And then you'll talk to the six-seaters, or the pilots of the six-seaters, and they'll explain how, realistically, they take a seat out, right? They fit 4 adults in the plane with a usable fuel load. You could do that here for less insurance, less acquisition costs, less maintenance. You know, a 500-mile trip in 3.5 hours, very doable. So this does that 85% mission for 85% of the pilots. And that's why the Dakota is the best airplane for a new or a low-time pilot in 2025.